Bring in Chris Clem on this to weigh in. Retired U.S. Border Patrol Chief, and Thaddeus Cleveland is the sheriff of Otero County, Texas, and a retired Border Patrol agent. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on. So, Sheriff, I'll start with you if I can. What do you make of the ad there? We played that clip of Harris's ad for president, and then Trump's response as well.
Howdy, and thanks for having me back. And Chris, good to see you, brother. Look, Chris and I work together, and you're not going to have two people that could come on air and tell you the truth about what's going on. It's two separate issues: border security and immigration. And what they're touting the vice president to support the strongest border bill ever. First of all, I'll tell you, it wasn't the strongest border bill ever. H.R. 2, which was passed in the House and not even looked at the Senate, is what we needed along the southwest border to help us control, the chaos that we've experienced the last 3 years. And then, when we continue to see her that she's going to hire more agents and the other things, again, if they wanted to do that, why haven't they already done that?
Yeah. And it was really also very interesting yesterday to speak with the sheriff who had been featured in that ad. And he explained to us that it was a local law enforcement effort at the event that she was speaking at when it comes to cracking down on gangs at the border or drug trafficking. So, Chris, you might miss that sort of context when you just see this brief moment when it appears the vice president is tough on border security.
Yeah, well, again, thank y'all for having me on, and always good to be with the sheriff. Complete lacking context. Let's just give facts. Under President Trump, 2.37 million arrests at the border. So far under Biden-Harris, over 10 million arrests at the border. So it could be further from the truth. And as Sheriff mentioned, the toughest border bill passed was H.R. 2. It was a border security bill. The Secure Border Act bill that the Senate was pushing was nothing but migrant facilitation, which is what she has said. It's what she campaigned on when she was running for Senate. It's what she talked about when she was running for president. It's what she continues to champion. So this is just complete gaslighting and misrepresenting the facts down there. And when she did go to the border in El Paso, she went to a processing facility. She didn't go down the line. She could have gone to the line, but she didn't. So this is just, again, a complete misrepresentation of what's actually happened in the border. And they've done nothing but facilitate illegal crossings and make it more difficult for law enforcement to do their job.
One of our viewers took the time to write in to talk about their concern over the northern U.S. border. Well, we're learning this on that. The Biden administration is planning to speed up the processing of asylum seekers at the U.S.-Canada border in response to an unprecedented increase in migrant crossings there. So the first change we're learning about will require migrants to have their documents ready when U.S. asylum officers conduct screenings to determine if they are subject to the agreement with Canada. Both changes went into effect just yesterday, so this is new. But the second change will reduce the time migrants have to consult with lawyers before their screenings with the U.S. asylum officers to a minimum of 4 hours, down from a 24-hour minimum. What do you make of these changes, Sheriff, when you hear this? And does this work to curb illegal migrant crossings?
Well, first thing I would say, we're beyond 3.5 years into this issue, and this administration has taken token efforts, the last 60 days to try to change their stance on the border and trick the American people that they're actually doing things to solve the chaos at the border. But look, again, you've got a small group of people in this government, in this administration, that are circumventing the laws that are on the books, that are in place to protect Americans. And again, we're not going to see anything come from this new effort that's going to actually, curb those crossing the border, whether it's the northern border or the southern border with Mexico.
Yeah. And Chris, maybe you could speak to the resources that are allocated to the northern border. I mean, are there enough agents that are available to really monitor these crossings?
No, I mean, it's wide open up there. I mean, 75% of our resources are down the southern border because of where the threat and the volume is, and that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is hearing Harris talk about adding more border patrol agents. We request, at least my last year, about 3,000 to 5,000 more agents at large for the Border Patrol. We got 300, which didn't keep up with attrition. And when we're talking about the northern border, think about Jason's report just a moment ago. $5 billion is what New York City's paid. That's what Trump needed under his last year or so of his administration to finish building the infrastructure, and Pelosi denied it. So when they talk about money and the resources, they've denied that. And now what they're doing right now, to follow up what the sheriff just mentioned, is This third safe country has been around for 20 years. In fact, it was expanded under the Trump administration, and it was pretty much reduced or dissolved under this administration. And now they're trying to do something last minute. What it comes down to, the root causes hasn't been addressed, but it's showing that the root cause is the failed policies out of Washington, and that includes what they're doing here with these asylum seekers and the people coming at the northern border. And lastly, there's exceptions. It's limited to only certain single adults and certain countries. It's not going to change anything. It just makes some people feel good about what they're doing.
Yeah, the real cost of a sanctuary city, or how to be one. The last check, we've tried to see, or we've seen Mayor Eric Adams try to see the president at the White House to talk about it. Remember, he pulled back his flight plans because his campaign, his staffers were being investigated. After that, you really haven't heard much more, at least from Eric Adams, on this, calling out the president. Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland, Chris Klim, thank you both. We appreciate your time.